Hey guys, it's me, my face, and a deep sigh of relief. Today's little happy dance brought to us by democracy and boom sauce. Mostly the democracy. If you're new here, my name is Andrea, and this is a channel about cross-stitch and crafting and opinions and depression, mental health, cats, beer, coffee, and stuff. Because I live in 3 dimensions. If you're a returning visitor, welcome back. First off, a little housekeeping. It's an asymmetrical shirt. I don't know what's happening here. I can't make it do any of the things. It's just, we're all going to have to live with the asymmetrical shirt. Sorry. It's annoying me as much as it's annoying you. Secondly, apologies for skipping making a video last week. I've been having a bit of a time, and I sort of checked out for about a week or so. Time leading up to Halloween was stressful, and Halloween was stressful. We had absolutely no visitors, with the exception of calling up Mark's sister and having her bring his niece over so we could just dump half our candy out on her. It was cold, it was lonely, but you know, it's a pandemic, and that's something that was just gonna happen. Then I got wrapped up in the election and the run-up to the election and then the actual election and then the 5 days of binge-watching CNN, waiting for little numbers to move around. I'm not a numbers girl. I am not a numbers girl. So yeah, it's been stressful right up until they announced yesterday that, you know, Biden is the presumptive president-elect. Everything's going forward with that assumption. Still in the back of my head somewhere, I have this like, it's not certified. It's not done. It's not done. Don't get excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. So yeah, I couldn't focus on anything. I hadn't done a whole lot of stitching. I have now done a ton of stitching. So I really didn't have anything to share last week. Plus, I did something pretty dumb and went to a casino for a day, which is just a super spreader event waiting to happen. But I needed to get out of the house, so I was not around to record. Today I feel a little more back on track. But in the meantime, I did manage to get a fair amount of work done on a few projects. Plus a little bit of haul came in, so let's dive into the stitchy stuff. The first thing I worked on is Bringing Home the Tree by Laurie Holt. Larry Holt? No, Laurie Holt. This I am stitching for a gift, and I made some progress, yo. I got a lot more of the wording done. I finished the trees up here. There's really not, I won't say not much left to go because this is solid, so it's going to take a while. But other than that, there's just some snowflakes up there, and I think we are good to go. This is going to be done in time to give as a Christmas gift that somebody could actually hang up this Christmas time. It's unusual for me. Dante, don't be a nudge. Good girl. If you're happy and you know it, drink your beer. The next thing I worked on is the Roladex Mourning sampler. This is from Bendy Stitchy Designs. And I made some good progress on this too. I got a chunk of this tree done and some more of the grass that, you know, I like working with variegated threads. I really do. I think they look great. I spend so much dang time trying to figure out what direction to stitch in so that the variegation goes in a way that makes sense to me. does make things take a little longer. But that said, I am loving this stitch. I love the fabric, I love the threads, I love the pattern, I love Michelle. What more can we ask for? The next thing I worked on is the 2020 Mystery Sampler from Linens and Threads. And I apologize. Oh, I have two stuck together. I apologize that this is so smunched in. I finished this motif. I did this one. And I assume that this continues down onto, one of the other months, but that's the end of the March pattern. So I think the next one starts up here. So that's why I kind of repositioned the hoop. But I made some progress. And, like I just said with the variegated threads over here, I'm doing these in various Threadworks threads. So they're all variegated. But I think I'm less concerned about the directionality on a motif like this, because it really can be kind of, it could be all over the place. It could go in multiple directions and it'll still look fine. Whereas if you try that like on a field of grass, you kind of want it all going the same way. So I enjoyed working on that. Should we keep going? Because yes, I worked on more things. I worked on Prairie Schooler. This is Knock Knock. What did I do? I think I finished the rest of the witch and moved on to filling in more of the house. Still kind of getting used to these magnet thingies. But yeah, this was good. This was good mindless fun. I think I actually did, one of those outline everything that you need to stitch and then just fill in as I was watching Anderson Cooper and trying not to hyperventilate. It had nothing to do with the election. I always have that reaction when I see Anderson Cooper. And drink. The next thing I worked on is Death by Cross Stitch. Yes, seriously, I worked on all of these things. This is by Long Dog Samplers, clearly. And really you see, I worked on this motif here. Just get that up there for you. So one of the biggest things that I am paranoid about is that I start to work on an area and forget which parts I was planning to do in the accent colors. But every time I pull out that purpley blue, whose DMC number is up on the screen somewhere, I just like stitching on it all the more. I honestly think sometimes that if I had to go back, I would do this whole thing in the variegated thread and maybe do black accents. It's too big to, hold. But yeah, I think I holed up in my office one night because I have to work on this on the big frame, and just binged election coverage and probably beer. Maybe some ice cream. Is that it? No. I have 2 new starts. I'm gonna do that again. 2 new starts. Look, a bunny. Shadow puppets. Okay, sorry. Beer. My first new start is from Cloundsfactory, of all places. This is actually going to be for my nephew and his girlfriend. They are expecting in February, and she is doing the nursery in Simba and Lion King. So I started the Cloundsfactory like, are you looking at this? Look at the monkey. Oh my lord. This stitched up fast. I think I've probably only worked on this 3 times. And not for like marathon sessions. My biggest problem has been assembling the DMC because I placed 2 different orders and still forgot one of the colors that I needed that's actually Simba's little tummy. But this is adorable. I can't wait to figure out how I want to frame it. I'm going to wait until the baby's born and add it and the name and the weight and everything. But this is gonna be so cute. The last thing I worked on is kind of frustrating. I wanted a new start. I wanted to try some of my new Fabric Flare fabric. So I went through some of the old, not old, but some of my past Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine PDFs, and I found a Teresa Miller. This is Pumpkin Bird and Tulip. Pumpkin Tulip Bird. You're seeing the things. I'm not thrilled with it. I am, again, the variegated thread is what's killing me. I swapped out all the colors because I didn't have any of the called for, but I wasn't going to buy anything for this. So I'm using a whole lot of Classic Colorworks, Victorian Motto, and such. And on the Tulip, what I was thinking was, first of all, I'm not thrilled with the coverage. This is 1 over 1 on 18 count. And it's just like the green looks good, but the darker colors not so much, but I digress. My thought was when I do the Tulip, I wanted to stitch the outline and then kind of keep coming back in so that the variegation moved to the inside of the flower. But I've somehow confused myself in many ways, and now the colors aren't going to line up, and I've already picked this part back like 3 times because I think I have an error over here, so I'm trying to match it, but I'm not doing a very good job. It's getting a little frustrating. Last night, I put it down. I might let it sit for a bit before I decide whether I want to come back to it. I'm also not sure if I just picked the wrong project to do on this fabric. I like the fabric, but maybe it's a little busy. Maybe I would have been happier if the pattern, if the printed pattern was a little more subtle. Because there are some places where I feel like I can see the writing like through the green. And I don't know if that's so much a coverage problem as the writing's very dark problem. I'm enjoying the stitch. It's just, it's causing me some issues. So I'm going to put it down for a bit. And that is all the stitching that I have been up to for the past 2 weeks. What stitching I could do was mostly stress stitching and, needing a distraction while at the same time being able to watch CNN while I worked on it. Yeah, I know. So yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if some of that needs to be picked out because I probably was not paying attention while I was doing it. But dang it, I did it, and that matters. I got a little bit of haul. I got my first installment of the Floss Frenzy. This is from Fat Quarter Shop. And what they do is they send, this is Weeks Dye Works. They send a color scheme every month. So rather than like go in alphabetical order like my Classic Colorworks from 3 Owl Threads does, this comes in, and I picked the right month to start, color blocks. So this is the satin black for, I'm gonna say, yeah, for October. And it comes with, let's see, I doubt these are gonna look very different on, God, Weeks Dye Works really does feel different than any other thread. And the only word I can use for it, and I know other people have used it too, is it feels drier. It's weird. But this is Blackboard, Gunmetal, Charcoal, which I really like. It's kind of a greenish. This is Onyx, which also has a good amount of variegation in it. Coal, with a K, Coal, like my eyeliner. Speaking of eyeliner, mascara, which we have all agreed is just black. It's $3.10. Don't ever buy mascara. For your stitching. For your face, do it. So as for my first month, I am pretty happy with what I got. And I believe it was not very expensive. I want to say, I shouldn't guess. I will put some sort of numbers up here. You should be used to that if you've been watching CNN. There'll be numbers. So I mentioned for The Lion King, I had to order some DMC because for some reason I managed to not have about 7 colors that were in this. I think probably because they tend to be bright, happy colors. That's not always my gig. So I looked around. I could not find one source of all the ones I needed. You know, I could have had Michael's put it together and I could just go pick it up. I could have done that with Joann's. Like, one had 4 and one had 5. Neither had the overlap. It wasn't worth it to go to 2 places. So I figured, well, I might as well just place an order online. And I filled multiple carts with things, and some places didn't have all the DMC, and some places were going to charge me like twice what I thought DMC should ever cost anybody. So I went back and forth and back and forth. So finally I settled on 123 Stitch, who has never done me wrong ever. And I should have just started with them. I managed to get all but one of the DMC that I needed, and I think probably at this point I'm just going to swap out with something else to get that project done. But I couldn't just order DMC and pay shipping. Shipping. I hate paying shipping. So I ordered some fabric because that was exactly what I didn't need, was more fabric. But I did. I actually got myself a little cut of, this is 18 by 21, 22 count ivory heart hanger, which I don't think I have used before. I've used Ada 22 or 20 count, but I thought I kind of wanted to try something for 1/1, but maybe try something different, so I went with heart hanger. And it feels nice. I don't think I'm going to have any trouble stitching on it. I can see all the holes, so that shouldn't be a problem. I also got some 20 count Ada Vintage Country Mocha, because you don't go wrong with Vintage Country Mocha. It's great for anything. And it's actually pretty, I'm not going to say cheap, but it is less expensive than a lot of the hand-dyed stuff, and it looks really good. So I got some of that. And heaven help me, I was looking at the Alessandra Adelaide banners that I have, that Mortuary Stitches gifted to me like a gajillion years ago. And so I decided to get some 20 count charcoal Ada. And maybe I can start another one of those and have that maybe for next Halloween. Seeing as I now just finally hung up the one that I did, I don't know how many years ago, for Halloween. So that is it for the stitching. All in all, I did not like skipping a week last week. I was in one of those places that I kept saying, you know, just take a quick shower and throw your stuff together and you can make a video. You can do it in half an hour, 45 minutes. And I said, no, it's never going to be that long. I managed to talk myself out of it every single time. So I don't like that I can do that. I don't like that I can talk myself out of doing the things that I really like to do, which is making these videos and editing them and, you know, doing all the things associated with being on YouTube. So what I have to do is, I think, not wait until Sunday to assemble everything and get everything ready, because it's overwhelming. I think what I'm going to try to do is improve my workflow so that the thing that takes the longest is making the video and not doing the editing and things like that. So I have to work on that. I'm not going to lie, depression has been beating me down a lot lately. I did manage to have a Halloween. It wasn't the one I wanted. It wasn't, I think, the one I needed, but I think isn't that like a Superman quote or something? DC, Marvel? I don't know. I don't know those things. From the outside, I think it looked great. I think from my inside, it wasn't so great, but there really wasn't anything. I mean, part of it was my feelings about it. Part of it was the pandemic. Part of it was just everything. The election looming and things like that. I had taken some time off from work. I planned to take the Wednesday before to Tuesday, election day. But I'm not good at taking time off, so I was kind of nervous and unsettled the whole time. It was not a good time for me. And right now, even though I feel more relief than I expected with the outcome of our election, it still sits over me. It still weighs on me. I still have, a lot of that ambiguous, something is very wrong, but I don't have the words for it, and I can't point to it, and I can't, articulate it. So recently it was suggested to me that I try doing some writing, which I haven't done in a very long time. So I may give that a shot. Unrelated, but not really. I've also started putting together a blog because I want to keep track of my projects better. I want to document a little more. So I think probably what it's going to end up being is the public posts will be about my stitching and my floss tube and things like that, and the other posts I'll keep private, but I'll be able to kind of write out what I'm thinking and not have to worry about spelling, grammar, logic, things like that. So we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know in a week if I've made a post. I love building new websites, but I just get obsessed with building it, and then when it's finally done, I don't do anything with it. What I should do is I should resurrect those sites and sell them to somebody. And just be like, here, it's yours now. Enjoy. Note to self, do not buy asymmetrical necklines ever again. Stop touching it. Right about here, I'm going to give my final thoughts. Well, not my final thoughts about, the American government. You probably hear many thoughts out of me in the coming weeks, days, months, years. Those don't go in that order. So if you just don't want to deal with it, you can, okay, I love you, bye-bye. This is not the answer. It's not mission accomplished. This is now the possibility of getting something done, of working with people who want to work with people, who, I guess not to say the end justifies the means, but they will work with people they don't necessarily agree with to put programs in place and to get things the way they should be, so that nobody ever has to talk about kids in cages ever again, so that nobody ever has to talk about people who aren't covered for health care, so that people have the security to live their lives and don't live in this state of suspension where you're not sure if you should start enjoying your life. You're afraid to spend money because you don't know if that money's going to dry up. And you don't know if that would be just a natural function of the economy or because some vindictive child just got mad one day and wants to punish people. I don't think Joe Biden is the answer to everything. I'm going to disagree with a lot that he wants to do. I think I'm going to agree with the new vice president-elect a lot more often. But I'm hoping to see real positive change. And that is not something that I thought was possible with, let's just say, the current administration. He who shall not be named. So yeah, this is where the work starts, not where it ends. I don't have my little message board up today because I couldn't land on what I wanted to say on my little message board, so hopefully next week I will have something meaningful and useful. And maybe even upbeat. We'll see. Alright guys, that's it for me this week. I'm sorry that I skipped a week and didn't even tell anybody. I apologize. I was just in a... and now I'm a little less... As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your likes and even your dislikes. And thank you for your comments. They mean everything to me. You guys mean everything to me. Thank you for being my community. Bye, guys.